episode number 49. Live at the Bike with Mike, part 3. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is going to be part 2 of the Live at the Bike with Mike series. And Joe and I and Mike are going to be going through the hands that Mike played at the 510 cash table at Live at the Bike. So we're going to pick up right where we left off. And if you want to take your game to the next level, you can do that by clicking on the link in the show notes and get a free MP3. And what you do is you listen to this before you play the next time. It's a little 7-minute tilt buster. And try it. You got nothing to lose. It's free. If you do like his tapes, go to his website, pokermindcoach.com, or click on the link in the show notes, and type in the code HUPoker, and you're going to get 10% off. Okay, well, without further ado, let's go to Live at the Bike with Mike.
I don't know if you remember this. I opened like Queen Jack off from like the hijack.
I do remember this one.
And the guy to my left, the guy who the villain from the last hand, the sunglasses, called with Ace King.
Yep.
And the flop was Ace King Queen, and I checked. And the turn was a king. And so this guy's got a full house, and I bet the Queen Jack.
Yeah, I didn't like the bet. I actually remember saying that to Steve.
Okay. I mean,
let me see. What part of the...
I don't know if it was that. Okay, I mean, it
was one of the very first hands.
I just thought, I knew if I checked, I was giving up to any bet he makes.
Do you mean Jack 10 suited? Is that the hand you mean?
No, that's a kind of a similar flop and situation, but I wouldn't search too hard this for. But anyways, my rationale, maybe this was afterwards, like I just kind of like, well, the guy has an ace, he's probably going to bet the I didn't want to check fold to like pocket eights or something if the guy tries to steal it.
I mean, if you think that he has something like pocket eights, like, so here's the thing, like when you bet the turn in that spot, you just never called by worse.
That I
know. And you never get better to fold.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
If your concern is that he's going to bluff you with pocket eights, then you should just be check calling.
Okay. Are you? I guess... Was it towards the end of the broadcast or towards the beginning, or?
It was the beginning. It was like one of the first couple.
Yeah, it was. That was. Yeah, I mean, I agreed with it, but I was just trying to find a reason to justify it. I think it was one of those times. Let's just throw some money in the pot and hope to take it down. And
I mean, I think you're like, it's probably you just don't want to get bluffed. You know, you feel your hand's not strong enough to call, and you don't want to get bluffed. But
yeah, that was my. I think my rationale, and I hadn't played with that guy enough that I thought maybe he would just bet the ace there on the turn. But anyway, Steve, now you can go to the next hand, Steve. I was just curious.
It was after the Jack's hand.
I don't remember. And quick, the only other hand with the commentators I don't know what Joe said live. There was like a 6-way flop. And it turns out the guy had Jack 6 for a flush. I don't even remember this, where I donk led on like a 4-7-8 board with a 5 of diamonds.
Oh yeah,
okay,
I didn't
here
really
it
like
is,
that
guys.
one
Okay, I've got
the. You like that one either? Okay.
I've got the Queen Jack hand.
If you want to go back, and this is the one.
Oh, this is the flat here.
Okay, so the commentators were. I know what they were talking about.
This is the end of that hand.
Oh, okay. Do the 4-5 hand, and then we'll do the Queen Jack because the Queen Jack's right after that.
Okay.
Let's see. Button 3 limps. Beard limps. Mike limps with 5-4 offsuit in the small blind and the big blind checks. So we go 5-way to the flop. Hero has 5 of diamonds, 4 of clubs. There should be about $50 in the pot. Yep. And the flop is 8 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds. Right. And Mikey's first to act. What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking that they either all missed or people who got a piece of it just the donk lead looks pretty strong, just aren't going to I mean, looking at all the other hands other than Jack 6, I mean, I think the Jack 9 of diamonds would fold. I think even the King 7 of hearts with top pair or middle pair might fold. That's my rationale. I mean, I'm repping here, I'm repping pretty strong here. I'm repping 2 pair, something that doesn't want another diamond to fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't think this. I thought this flop would hit me more than the other guys, and I wanted to take the $55 out of the pot or whatever it was.
Okay. What are you thinking on this one, Joe?
See, the problem is you're in the small blind here, so you're going to be out of position. So whenever anybody calls you, you're just playing a guessing game on the turns.
Right. Pretty much never going to win the pot if someone calls me here. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you ever just win the pot here either. Like, take a pretty special set of hands where you just get folds all around.
Would you fold King 7 of hearts to this bet? I
probably would. Yeah.
Okay.
I probably would, but I mean, I don't think people are certainly nobody's gonna fold like, the ace of diamonds. Certainly, probably not the king of diamonds. I mean, yeah. There's just like a lot of hands that are probably gonna continue. Even like something like, honestly, like Jack 9 with the 9 of diamonds might, occasionally call you, especially
he's got the gutter ball too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I probably just wouldn't be c-betting in this spot.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. The commentators were like, "This is a leak in his game. He needs to fix." And wasn't. Yeah, and I'm like, but I had a reason. Yeah, I think it was a fair analysis. I was curious with the. So yeah, the 2 hands the 2 smaller hands I misplayed. That you agree with. I like to hear that. So
yeah, and I actually thought you played like the E7 hand very well. Obviously that was like not a very good result, but. Yeah, I thought your mistakes were like fairly small.
Okay. Someone else had a flush here and raised, and obviously I hit pretty quickly.
Yeah. All right. Now the next hand is the queen jack one. Okay, and this is against the guy that you played the hand before the ace 7 hand, where he rivered the flush. He got the backdoor spades and got the flush in there, and you made the bluff with the ace 7, and he basically hit the top of his range. Okay, that's his hand.
I'm not sure this is the right hand, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think this is it either. It was against the guy on your left.
I have Jack 10 of spades this hand, right?
I thought this was queen jack. I could be wrong.
Okay, we'll see. So what it turns out. Either way, there's always something to discuss.
USA 2. Okay, never mind.
Okay, Stevie. I don't know. Yeah, we can just go to the later hands there. I don't know.
There it is.
The one.
No.
Yeah, that's the other.
That's the other mic.
The other hand I was just curious about, the one nutty hand I had where I had the ace king smash the flop, king high check with me. I'd be curious if Joe would have flatted there or repopped it like I did.
Oh yeah. I remember watching that hand, and I would have definitely flatted that hand. That's a good one to talk about if we can find it.
Yeah, because that was the other hand, other than where I'm like, I think if I flat there, it looks like I have like 10s or jacks and want to see what he does on the turn, kind of thing.
Yeah, it just gives him so much more room to bluff.
Yeah.
Next time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write down every single hand you play and the times that you play them, and then we can just boom, 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 go to all of them. I think that'd be perfect.
Joe is just a chill went up his spine at the words "next time."
No, I actually really enjoyed this. This was fun.
I did too. When are you going to play again, Mike?
Well, I have a hand I'd like to discuss that happened an hour after this.
Okay.
Basically, I have bankroll problems against Steve I'm going to complain about. Well, I was telling Steve before the air, I canceled the poker check because they said, oh, well, you can now use Bitcoin. And rather than waiting for a $25 check, you can get $5,000 in Bitcoin, and now I'm having trouble doing that. So, anyways, I'm not going to complain about money, Steve, but I'm not sure I could. Although you never know, I might be able to just slunch it myself for no markup, and I can, especially if it's the 5-5 game there. I'm definitely, I think I'm plus EV on 5-5. But that was the one chance I thought I had to make some decent money, Steve. If you find that where Bear Jew, I think Bear Jew opened like ace 10. I 3-bet him, and the flop was king XX.
Yes,
And,
you had ace king, right?
yeah, I see bet he raised, and I think in defense, like, at least my re-raise was small, but it was also pretty quick. I mean, it's pretty obvious he was.
Yeah, what I remember that one. Okay, so it went. Let's see. You opened ace king and he just called, or did he?
I think he opened it. I 3-bet if I remember correctly.
Okay, he opened. You 3-bet him. You were in position, right?
He was definitely out of position, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then he called. The flop comes down. I think it was like king 8x. I remember thinking, wow, that's the perfect freaking flop for ace king.
It was a very, very dry board. It was like king, small rainbow. It was pretty ideal.
Pretty much, I'm going to have the best hand, 98% of the time.
Yeah.
And there's no turn card, which scares me, other than maybe queen or jack a little bit if he has to pair. But it's a flop where I'm willing to get my whole stack in, certainly against this villain, especially.
Yeah.
But he check raised, and for some reason I re-raised, and there's just no point in that, other than
Yeah. Well, he checked. You bet. If I remember right, I think it was about half pot. And then Bear Jew raised, but he did a big speech before he raised. We couldn't hear what he was saying, but he was talking a lot. And what was he saying during that time? Do you remember?
I can't. This might have been one of those times. He's like, "I think I got you again, mailman. You're not going to shoot me if I take this from you, are you?" Or something like that. I can't remember. He was at some point. I stopped listening.
Okay.
he was just talking the whole fucking time. I mean, I'm a talker too, but I'd like to think I'm asking people questions about themselves and enriching the poker comfort of people. I don't know, but anyways.
Okay. So he was just spouting.
What's the ace queen hand you have in there? This one I don't remember at all. Is this a hand I won or?
Let's see. Okay.
I think this might have been a 3-bet. It was a multi-way pot, and I had the good sense to give up.
This is where Mike gets it all in with the ace high.
Oh, okay.
You're right. Yes.
I think I was the pre-flop aggressor here, and
let's see. Okay, you're on the button. You've got to wrap up that hand. He raised you, and then you. What would that be? A 4-bet, I guess.
That's a 3.
Raised him.
Post flop, it's a 3-bet. Yeah, and he quickly folded. So, if for some reason I just flat, there's a decent chance he pots it on the turn. This guy's bet sizing was always big. He was just trying to own people with his big stack and his money. So, I might have lost at least another. I don't think he's going to go 3 streets with his air because it looks pretty, but he might have. But I think I lost at least $400 there. He bets on the turn is my guess.
Yeah. I think if you call there, he's leading so many turns.
Yeah, I agree.
He does have some kings in his range, but even those, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just you're in position, which is really great. So even if he does decide to just check the turn to you, you can make a decision on whether or not you want to bet the turn, or like give him another chance to either bluff river or call with something weaker than a king.
Yeah.
But I mean, you kind of let him off the hook when you 3-bet him.
Okay. One is Hero is on the button.
It just kind of figure though, just said I left and okay, I play, but just take the betting 10, and then maybe me just flatting that ace king hand. The whole night has like a $1,000 difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Joe, you ever look at it. Yeah. But, so I was just thinking about that. But anyways, I can't remember if there's any other, intriguing hands there.
Okay. So there's this one here. You've got ace queen on the button. We get a raise under the gun +2, from Josh. He's seat 8. Bear Jew calls, and you've got, ace queen off on the button. And let's see. Are you calling here or are you, raising, Joe?
My guess is I'm raised. I don't know.
I mean, I'm fine with either one just because this guy's opening from up front.
Okay.
And Josh wasn't like that aggressive. He was pretty, he picked up a lot of hands, but he was relatively tight. So I could see flatting here being fine.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, you can always rationalize everything with like let's get Big Mike in the hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking call just because Bear Jew's in there. You got position on him. You know he can play with just about anything. And then when you've got Cowboy Hat Mike in the big blind, you want him to come in with just about anything. So I was thinking call.
I do actually. So there is something that ends up happening in this hand that makes me want to do something a little bit crazy. Not really that crazy though in this spot. So it ends up folding back to Mike, who now three bets out of the big blind.
Yeah. So the small blind calls, and now the big blind Mike, he's counting out some chips. So Cowboy Hat Mike is in the big blind. Look, he's gonna do something.
Well, this would have been a good back raise, I think, to say, for sure, because
yeah, so Cowboy Hat 35, and everyone calls except for Charles.
I think he calls too.
Yeah, he does. Okay. All right, so we go to the flop, 5-way.
$675 in there? Is that
$675 in there.
Okay.
And let's see.
A good raise by Mike. Let's cancel. He's usually the best hand there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his raise is a little bit on the slide, but
that's true. Yeah, I would have made
the fact
it.
that he raises is fine. But
I would have made it. I would have made it like 225 or something, probably even. I don't know.
Yeah, he just made it 135, and with everybody calling 30 up front, that
once the first person calls, everybody's calling.
Yeah. But, okay.
So Joe was talking about maybe doing the back raise there.
Oh yeah.
I think.
I think once
I like that. I think that I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, once those two guys up front flat, I mean, it's pretty unlikely that they ever have a better hand. I think they're probably just going to 4-bet ace king and like queens plus. So once they flat, I mean, you have the best hand like most of the time, or you're flipping, and you can just ISO Mike because he's never going to fold. So, and you're like way ahead of his range. So you can just go ahead and like back raise and
get it in pre with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm never really comfortable getting in like, 200 big blinds with ace queen, but if there ever was a spot, it would be against this guy.
Yeah. Okay.
So what would your sizing be here if you were going to repop it like 800 or something?
I'd probably go like 650. I don't think you have to go like too big, but like,
okay.
Yeah, like 650.
I guess from the villain's perspective, maybe if they're thinking though, like if sometimes I'm flatting aces or kings, but probably not that often when there's been a raise and a flat where I'm the third person to act.
Yeah, I mean,
but there's not a lot they can do. Well, certainly with 5 deuce and king jack, they both got to fold. But I'm just If they had pocket nines, they'd have to be real suspicious of my re-raise. I don't know if they'd jam it in there, but.
Right. I mean, and even if they do that, though, I mean, unless you're going to have, like, eights, it's a losing proposition to be just, like, getting in nines in their spot.
Right.
You're just going to have 2 overs, or you're going to have, a bigger pair.
The bottom line is making it 650 here is going to work. Only has to work 50% of the time, and it's probably going to work, on standard. Well, here we know it's going to work more than that, but, yeah. I like it. Yeah. I got to be honest. I didn't even think about that at the time.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I thought about squeezing pre-flop, but I didn't think about repopping it.
Okay.
So, anyways, 9-5-5, and this is the goofy ass hand where they run it 3 times, and somehow Mike. I don't know if you want to. I mean,
won the first run out.
Yeah. That's funny. I'm just saying. Well, you put your cards in pretty much. If you're going to go in there dead, just run it once and hope to get there, which would have been been beautiful.
Yeah.
That way, everybody at the table would have been 9.
Yeah. The commentators are fun rooting for Mike.
Yeah.
The one time he put the big move on with deuce 7 suited, and Bear Jew called with they're like, oh man, if you just made it 1400, maybe Bear Jew folds. And they're both like, please, Bear Jew, fold, please, just to have it on TV. If some country guy from Kansas winning a huge pot with deuce 7 would have been fun. But
yeah. Yeah. Well,
another very small question. I don't know if we can find. I don't know if Joe remembers this, but this would be kind of a general. I don't know if I 3-bet or pre-flop raise with ace 10 suited.
Okay.
I don't know if you can remember this. I'm just curious. On that kind of board, do you see bet in a 3-way pot?
If you had just opened and this was the pot, or this was the flop, rather.
I can't remember the specifics, but
Are we still talking about the 9-5-5 hand, or you guys moved on to something else?
Oh, you want to keep talking about this? I mean, some guy has trips, the other guy goes fucking nuts, Steve. I mean, what do you?
Well, yeah,
there's no fucking commentary.
Well, just to give you an idea of
I'm just curious the bet sizing here. Oh yeah, Mike makes it 300. Bear Jew makes it 1.1 thousand. And
I think that's not very good, but I mean, it works out for him.
Yeah.
Would you just call there every time?
There's like never a reason to raise. He doesn't have that much money. Like if you let him bet, he's just gonna put the money in himself.
Yeah. Okay.
That might have been one of the few times that Mike had squeezed that kind of move. So he probably was hoping big pair and that he knew he wouldn't fold.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like, he's still just not gonna fold anyway. He's still just gonna put the money in anyway.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because now the pot is well over 3K, and it's only a few hundred for the other guy to call.
So yeah, he had to put 700 more in there after the guy put 1.1 thousand out of calling.
Yeah.
And I mean,
runner, heart.
And the funny thing is, the commentators were going, Mike wins, and they said, wait a second, they run it twice. They're disappointed.
No, not only twice, 3 times.
Yeah, and the next time is, what is this, 3? Oh, poor Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been epic if he had won that and had all those chips, because he would have even gone zonker, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know if there was just I'm just curious about c-betting wet boards when you miss like in a multi-way pod, and I don't know if it's really that interesting a question. But anyway, what hands did you have written down, Steve? Is there another one in the show, or?
There was one towards the end. Remember when I got up, Joe, and then I said, "Oh, did I miss anything?" And you said, "Yeah, actually, that was a really interesting hand." And
Joe, I mean, did you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of this? Is that what happened?
I did. That's exactly what happened. You know me pretty well. I think you had
frost. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, King 9 of Hearts, and I wrote down that it was 1 hour and 55 minutes, so it must be right at the end.
I hope it's something I fuck up so we can end on the right note. 9 of Hearts. Was it a squeeze spot I missed? I think I vaguely remember flat, and it might have even occurred to me that to raise at the time.
I don't think it was anything that you said.
King 9 off. Okay, I wrote heart, but here you have.
I always actually, from the first last time you had you, Joe, do keep in mind though your statement that people make most of their mistakes post flop.
Yeah.
So just try to see flops with guys for cheap, kind of thing. I mean, maybe it's different when you're dealing with pros or mostly pros, where you just kind of want to slightly grind on people and choose your choice. Here's the one I was curious about right here.
Okay, let's see.
8-10 of diamonds, just in terms of a general poker question of when to c-bet. But anyways, thank you for wisdom, Joe. Still losing money, but try to help me.
Oh, here we go. Pre-flop raise stat for Mike Snyderman is 9%. Yeah.
That's what I was saying, but my VPIP was pretty high. I was playing kind of sort of passive, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I think other than the King 10 hand, maybe missing the AsQ hand, I don't think there's a lot of pre-flop mistakes that I can remember too much. Like, I should have raised hands. I shouldn't have been in the pot with that hand thing. Yeah, it would be like, that would be interesting. Like, rather than even commenting on poker, just doing a documentary on the 24 hours before Big Mike showed up at this table. Go around borrowing from trust fund, or does he actually have investments? See, this is the weird number.
Yeah, okay.
My VPIP is 31, but my pre-flop raise.
Oh, no.
My VPIP is 31, but my pre-flop raise, it was only whatever it was, 6%. So normally, like if I saw that in a tournament, someone's HUD, I'd say, well, this person's very weak.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think I don't really dislike my pre-flop decisions of which hands I was in there with and which hands I was raising with, other than the King 10 hand, But anyways, that's just my.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think the stats are like, well, first of all, this is a very small sample. So you can't really read too much into that.
Yeah, there's probably 40 or 50 hands, huh?
Yeah, and your stats are going to be quite a bit more passive just because you're going to have a lot more, over pre-flop.
Sure. Okay.
So, I mean, inevitably, that's going to be the case.
Okay. Yeah, you were 31.9. Yeah, so over 40 over this.
Yeah, I think it's pretty meaningless, but
Okay, here we are.
Here's the queen. I mean, again, not a fascinating hand, but this is the kind of hand you see all the time. And it's probably a leak where I'm usually c-betting, and if I'm doing that, I'm like, fuck it, well, I got a double barrel.
Okay, now this one, you're under the gun +2, and there must be a straddle because it says 20 to call.
Okay.
So you're UT2. You have ace-10 offsuit.
Ace-10 diamonds suited.
Oh, I'm sorry, ace-10 suited. And you raise to 60. What are you thinking there, Joe?
I mean, I think that's fine.
Okay.
That seems pretty standard.
Okay. Okay, and get a clock freeze by Cowboy Hat.
Who folded 10-9? Someone fold 10-9 suited?
It did.
I think it was a 9 offsuit.
Oh, okay.
And Bear Jew calls 45, of course.
Any two cards.
Any two. Yeah, Bear Jew has 8-2 offsuit, by the way, and he was under the gun, I guess. He called 45.
I think he was.
He would have been.
Straddle.
He must have been the straddler.
He would have been the straddle to be on that hand. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so he's got A2. Hero has ace-10 of diamonds, and Cowboy Hat Mike has pocket threes. Flop is king of hearts, 9 of hearts, 6 of diamonds. Yes, we got backdoor straight, backdoor diamonds. Bear Jew with his 8-2 offsuit. He checks while talking to the guy next to him, pretty uninterested in the hand. Mike checks, and Cowboy Hat Mike checks. What are you guys thinking here?
Mike bets and takes us down.
Mike bets, yeah.
I think against a normal three-handed pot, I don't really dislike the check give up. But against these two, where Mike is calling so wide and Bear Jew defending so wide, they don't necessarily. You're like, one of them has Broadway hands in their range kind of thing.
Now, I was kind of the opposite. I was thinking if it was against two normal players, I would be more likely to c-bet because I could barrel and get them to fold.
Okay.
But with Mike on your left, he's less likely to fold. And so I might just, decide that I'm just going to value bet thin and more often and bluff a lot less against him.
Well, yeah, I think that was my thought at the time, I guess, too, where I was like, well, I want to be in a hand with Mike when I have it.
Yeah.
But
I think I remember saying that, too. I said to Steve, when you check there, I was like, I like that check because I think you don't really have to bluff against him. You can just wait till you flop a pair and just going to pay you off anyway.
I think I was also frustrated that knowing that this was getting near the end of the broadcast, I wasn't sure if Big Mike leaves. Do I at least maybe c-bet just to see a turn? There's so many good turns. I've got the backdoor Broadway and the backdoor nut flush, where if somehow, I run a runner. If I'm putting him on a king here, for example, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just curious about. This is one of those spots where you see all the time.
Yeah,
you miss a flop. When to c-bet, when not to c-bet.
Yeah, if you had c-bet here, I wouldn't have. I would have been like, yeah, it seemed a fine c-bet. And when you checked, I'm like, seems like a fine to check too. You could go either way. I don't think it's a mistake either way.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have any more hands, Steve?
There's one here. You've got ace-10. Oh, this was an interesting one.
This is
a good one. Yeah.
This is the one that almost I would have my ball knocked off there if I somehow.
Yes. You are in the big blind. C4. He folds, and of course he's going to play. He makes it 30. Seat 8 calls. Seat 9 Bear Jew calls, and we are back to Mike Snyderman. And you've got ace of spades, 10 of diamonds, and you're in the big blind. So we're just calling here every time, right? We're never raising? Or are we raising?
Yeah, no, calling is definitely correct.
From the button as well, in position, still just...
Yeah,
okay.
even from in position.
Okay. All right. Mr. Snyderman calls.
Four-way to the flop.
Four-way to the flop. So with the pot of 125, the flop is... ace of clubs, king of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, and hero has ace of spades, 10 of diamonds. So we got one diamond, flop top pair. What are you guys? What are you thinking here, Mike?
I'm thinking good, but it is 4 ways, so it's I'm not looking to play a massive pot here.
Yeah. Okay. And what are you thinking, Joe? Are you betting here? Are you checking or?
I mean, I'm probably always checking.
Yeah.
But I like the flop, and I just want to see what people behind me do, and go from there.
Okay, you say you're always checking. Why is that?
I mean, I can only think of like a few very specific situations where I would be leading in a multi-way pot like this. I mean, this board isn't really a board that hits your range,
Yeah.
as much as it hits like the pre-flop raiser and maybe some of the callers.
Okay.
So there's really no reason to ever be leading here, but I could see leading like a set of threes, because people will kind of spaz out a little bit and like raise something like ace queen, or I mean, if they have even stronger hands, they'll probably end up raising.
Think you have a flush draw and be no, you're done with this pot, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see leading hands like that, but those
if you donk lead and get raised, obviously you got to fold. So you might check calling. Seems like the play.
Yeah.
You mean with ace 10 or with pocket threes?
With ace 10.
With
okay,
ace 10.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I would lead threes there every single time. Is that a leak?
No, I don't think so. Especially in like live, cash games. It's definitely not a leak. Just because
I don't know about I would have want to. I mean, it would be nice for me to lead here after donk leading and folding before, maybe. But if it was the first time you donked all day, then I don't know if I would like.
Yeah,
when you say every time, yeah. Multi-way pot, though, if you had pocket threes here, you think, well, there's a good 4-way, there's a good chance someone has an ace. So let's start building the pot. So,
okay.
But anyways, check leading here didn't even occur to me.
Okay, and this must be a leak, because I running through my head in this situation, I think I would lead here 20% of the time and check 80, but I should never be leading here.
I mean, I don't want to say that. I think in 4 ways you should probably never be leading here.
Okay.
Maybe if you're like 3 ways to the flop, but the pre-flop aggressor, if the pre-flop raiser is the third person to act, you're the first and they're the third. Mm-hmm. There's like some case to lead, so that way you get to see what the guy in between does, as opposed to checking to the pre-flop raiser, him betting, and then you calling, and then the guy in between doing something, like check raising.
I think, remember, Steve, we got 200 big blinds. Now, if this was late stage in a tournament where the guy has opened 70% of buttons and you got 25 big blinds effective and you think he might spaz out, then, yeah, your lead. Like if you check call, he might be done with it, where if you lead, he might spaz and shove over you. So late in tournament, I can see like leading here, but only I would never be leading in any spot here where I'm not ready to call.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Okay. All right.
I forget what happens. Big Mike bets. I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I might actually check through if I remember correctly. I'm not sure.
I think you might be right. Maybe next bet here.
Checks on the turn. Checks through on the turn.
Oh.
So on the flop, Mike is Cowboy Hat Mike is betting. So there's 9 checks. Cowboy Hat's 115. Josh in seat 8. He calls the 115, and now it's back on Mikey.
Josh has ace 9, by the way.
Josh has ace 9.
I have the hand.
Yeah, the band.
And
Cowboy Hat Mike has 2 napkins.
Yeah.
He's got 8, 9 of hearts.
Although Josh's call has to worry me a little bit here, because he was in kind of earlyish position. So I was thinking he had a flush draw or maybe a bigger ace.
Yeah, okay. And now in this spot, I would always call. Are you always calling here, Joe, or are you raising, or we're never folding, right?
I'm always calling here. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're on the same page there. Mikey throws in the chips, and we go to the turn. There's 470 in the pot. The turn is spades. Board now is ace of clubs, king of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, spades. It goes check, 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 and checks all the way through. Are you ever betting that turn?
Well, Mike is still out of position, so I mean, I'm definitely not betting from his seat.
Yeah, okay, I agree, because you're worried about Josh, right?
Yeah, I might actually bet if I'm Josh.
Okay.
My plan would probably be to bet the turn and then check back the river.
Yeah.
But it would have been sucked if Mike took another stab at it and Josh called. I'm done with the hand, right? I have to be.
I don't know. That's pretty close. I might still call just because. I mean, Josh is seeing the same things from Mike that you're seeing, so he could call like pretty wide. I mean, he could still have flush draws too, but he could also call with like king queen.
King.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be that surprised to see him call with king queen.
Right. Well, that makes sense. So the river's a 5. We got ace king 8 5 3. No flush out there.
No flush.
I guess technically there's a straight with a 2-4, but I have ace 10, and I think I have the best hands.
Yeah.
So I bet it.
470. What's your sizing here, Joe?
I mean, I'm going pretty small. There's like not a ton of worse hands, but they're not going to call very big bets. So I'm probably going like 200.
270, so a little less than half pot, more than a third.
Yeah.
Okay, Mikey makes it. Right.
I was really hoping you would bet 200 again. That would be really fun.
Be pretty sick. Okay, so now it's on Cowboy Hat Mike, who's sitting there with 2 napkins. He's got 8-9 of hearts for a pair of 8s on the turn, turning his hand into here. He makes it, what's he make, 398? Oh, 315. So he makes it really, really small.
It's not even a legal race. I mean, it's kind of.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna. So 380. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The dealer says you gotta double his bet, so then he puts out more.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking here, Mike? It took a while, and maybe just from Josh finally begrudgingly folds his hand and folds E9, and now at this point, are you asking him? Well, one card flipped over. Can I see the other one?
Sorry. Whose card flipped over?
Oh, right here, Josh's card flipped over, and he was the one with ace 9, and it.
I didn't notice that.
Okay.
I can't remember. No. Well, first of all, before we get into my decision, I was discussing with the dealer that's saying he didn't say raise; he just threw the chips in. I said, isn't that just a call? So you could already tell I was kind of nervous here. And of course, it's more because I thought that was like a tournament rule, maybe where if you threw in more than half, it had to be a raise. But it's the same in cash.
Okay.
So I didn't argue vehemently. He says, no, that's a raise.
Okay.
And like I said before, maybe this was just to Steve. I can't remember if this was when you were on, Joe. I said, I just couldn't believe this guy was going to fucking bluff again. And it was the first time he min raised. So, yeah, I was just perplexed by the bet size. I mean, I was going to call. I mean, I'm getting 5-1 on a call here, right?
Yeah, it's 1K in the pot, and it's basically 200 for you to call. Yeah.
He's certainly bluffing 18.9% of the time here, or whatever it is. But I did think he had it. I mean, I've made some really badass folds like this in tournaments where someone I've done it to other people too. Where someone raises on the river and it's not even that big, and you're like, fuck, I just can't afford to give this person that extra 9 big blinds here, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in a cash game, this is always an easy call. But for some reason, I thought he had it. If he made it 600, I think I would have had, maybe not 600, but maybe anywhere near pot 700 or 800. I think he's on that pot for me because you just assume the guy's going to learn. He's just not going to keep fucking things around it.
Yeah, so, I don't know. This guy, I mean, he was just clicking buttons the whole time. He was doing some really weird stuff. I could never flop there.
Yeah, no. Regardless of bet sizing, you think you would have found a call and made it not here or something?
Yeah, probably. I wonder what he checked the turn with. Like what strong hands is he really going to be like checking the turn when it's pretty clear that one of you could very easily have a flush draw?
Right.
So, I mean, even if he has a set there. If
he's got a set of kings, he's still betting the turn because it looks like one of us has an ace and nobody's going to believe him because he's. But, that is bizarre. I guess I'm embarrassed that I had to think about this at all. But,
well, from our perspective, we're seeing every single hand. So you've pretty much up until this point, I think you've seen him spaz out with I think he called down with a pair of threes when Bear Jew had like top two pair or something. And then he called that, he reshoved the ace high. And so you've seen that one. So from your perspective, after this, you're like, okay, this is the third freaking time. Can he really honestly have it this time?
Right. He called fucking $2,000 snap called.
Yes.
With the guy had top set. You didn't even have top pair.
Yeah.
Snappy. No, I just had to think about it a minute.
Okay.
And I don't think I was ever folding. But he would have got me to fold the big bet, I think, which is probably sad there. But
I don't know. I mean, you're saying that. I mean, if he really bets like 700 there, I don't think I could call that. But you'd call it every time, Joe?
Against this guy, I probably would.
Yeah.
That's a good something I'm not always thinking about. Just as Simon Bell says, you got to obviously go back in every previous street. He almost could have nothing there, but ace five or five, or 2-4 of diamond, something like that. I mean, the river has to give him a nutty end for him to do that.
Yeah. Right.
And which you just,
Yeah. I'm not going to feel bad. I'm going to call there very confidently. And if he happens to just have a really big hand, then so be it. But he's shown down so many bluffs and the tendency to just play his hands very strangely that I could never fold in that thought.
Yeah. Okay. Do you, I can't find that King 9 hand at the end. Maybe,
I know. Yeah, I got no recollection of that one.
Okay. All right. You said you had one more, Mike, after the broadcast?
Yeah, Joe, do you mind doing one more hand?
Sure.
I thought we sat at that table for another 30 or 45 minutes before it finally broke down. I had aces cracked, but against a straight, but I'm happy I only lost 400 or 500. I played it with some semi-competence. But I lost a few hands and then bought in for some more money. I can't remember how much. I think I had bought in for another 1,600 because I was really low and I wanted my stack up. But anyways, here is a hand. I start with, I believe it's $2,400.
Okay.
And we're only playing six-handed. The one game had broken. Now we had the two 5-10s had merged together, and a few people left pretty quickly. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. This is pretty fun. One guy's like one round of mandatory straddles, and we all agreed, and we did 6 of them. And then by the time it got to him, he's like, "Sorry guys, I got to get out of here." I mean, I don't know if he's like from the very beginning. He's like just for his own entertainment purposes. He was deciding he was going to do that. Yeah. Pretty fucking ridiculous. But anyways, I'd never seen that one before.
I haven't either.
This hand is okay. And it's all my interpretation that it's all pros here. This is one of those tables where if I'm going to make money, it's just because I get lucky. I think, 5-10 game at Los Angeles at midnight. But anyways, some Canadian dude, because we've been talking a lot about Canadian this and that. Oh, we were talking about baseball and the Blue Jays. He makes it 40 under the gun. And somebody else calls the 40. The Canadian's going to be the villain here.
Okay.
And then I have ace queen off in the big blind.
Hero in the big blind. Okay.
Maybe in some situations I flat, but a lot of my opens have gotten 3-bet and I've had to fold and this and that. So not as a matter of revenge, but I mean I got a strong hand. I decide I'm going to 3-bet here.
Okay. What are the other stacks? You got 2.4. What's Villain have? Do you remember?
Villain had like 3,500. He had me fairly well covered.
Okay. And the guy in middle position that just flatted?
I cannot remember.
Okay.
I think nobody here was like shallow 400 big blinds looking to shove it in though. Everybody had at least 1,000.
Okay. I'm thinking 3-bet right off the bat, Joe, and tell me if my thought process here is jacked up. 6-handed, 40-40 plus the small blind, and that there's 95 in the pot. I'm thinking 160.
Yeah, I was going to say probably like 160, 175.
Okay.
I make it 160.
Nice.
Okay.
Great minds think alike.
And so we go, and the under the gun guy or the early position guy, I guess he's UTG +1. He calls. The other guy folds. So we got 365 in the pot. Well, 360 after they rake it.
Okay.
And the flop is Queen 5 deuce. The 5 and deuce are of spades, and I have the ace of spades.
Queen 5 deuce. The queen and 5 are spades?
The 5 and deuce are spades.
5 and deuce are spades. Okay. And which one is yours spade? The queen?
The ace.
The ace. Well, that's a pretty flop. Okay. Let's see. Your first to act.
Yes.
Heads up. Okay. Tell me how I'm doing, Joe.
Okay.
I'm thinking I like...
Well, you're off to a bad start that you're thinking, Steve. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. We like our hand a lot. It's so dry, though. For him to call our 3-bet pre-flop. I'm thinking of checking here. What do you think of, Joe?
Never.
I'm
Never.
betting.
Always betting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The check raise? No, that's bad.
No, definitely not check raising.
Huh. Okay. All right. Fill me in. Tell me what you're thinking.
All right. So I mean, like his range for calling here is going to be lots of pairs, lots of medium pairs. Probably some. I mean, he could actually have the same hand, like ace queen, maybe king queen, maybe ace king if he's not going to 4-bet. So I mean, I'm just going to bet here, and he's probably always going to float at least, or he's probably always going to call at least once with like his medium pairs.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to bet something like 200 here.
Okay. 200 into 365?
Yeah, and my plan is going to be, because like I think a lot of his calling range is going to be like medium pairs, my plan is going to be to probably call here and then probably check a lot of turns to either induce or to kind of just make it look like I am not as strong.
Okay.
And then maybe get a bet in on the river.
Okay.
And because you're the ace of spades, you don't really have to worry too much about him having too many flush draws.
Yeah. Okay.
and you're going to be betting your air here, Steve. So you have to bet your strong hands too. So you can't just. Yeah.
That's true.
It's not like not like a tournament. You're trying to get tricky too much, I think. But
yeah, and your 3-betting range in this spot is going to be pretty narrow. So you're going to have like all of your big pairs, and you'll have like your ace king will be like your bluff, and the only value hand that I'm going to like check here is probably going to be like pocket jacks.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to bet like 200, maybe 225.
I bet 220.
Right on.
I was kind of thinking like you. I was probably only going to get one street of value from this guy.
Yeah.
From his medium pairs and stuff. So, maybe, like I said, 200, maybe just get a few extra chips in there. I think even like 240 wouldn't have been terrible.
Yeah.
So there's now 740. He calls.
Okay.
He calls. Okay.
So there's now 800 in the pot. Exactly.
Okay.
And the turn is the queen of spades. So we have queen, 5 deuce, 3 spades, and the ace of spades. And the funny thing, I was thinking the same thing as Joe, is I was going to check the turn. But this card seems obviously like gin to me to really build a pot. Not only because of the strength of the hand, it's like, well, he doesn't have a queen. He doesn't have a flush. I think he'd be suspicious of my bet, is what I'm saying. But I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, this is kind of a close spot. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to think if I think I do like a bet. I think I like a bet because the only other hand that I'm going to be betting that as a bluff is probably going to be like ace king with the ace of spades. I'll probably barrel. So I think if, my only bets are going to be probably like your exact hand, like ace queen. And I'll probably check my pocket kings and pocket aces with a spade. So
are you ever I mean, what are you doing with pocket fours here? I mean, if you think he's got sevens or eights or an ace king float, I mean, are you?
Well, I'm probably never 3-betting pocket fours, so
Okay.
I'd probably just call with pocket fours pre-flop.
Yeah, I was.
So yeah, like I said, like my 3-betting range in this spot versus under the gun, and being you were in the big blind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my 3-betting range is going to be really narrow, just because you're going to have so many hands that you can just call. So I'm not going to get to this point with like too wide of a range.
Okay. So you have a value range here almost every time, other than like you said, ace king is the only hand you'd be bluffing here. Pocket tens, if you check, it's not. It's for pot control or pocket jacks or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that all makes sense. I'm just happy that I got a big hand, and I'm hoping he's got queen jack or queen king.
Yeah.
What's your sizing into 800, Joe?
Probably going like 450.
Okay. I was thinking 360, but you want to go a little bit more than half, just build a pot?
Yeah, I mean, you could. I don't think going smaller is fine. I think going bigger is probably not good.
Okay.
You want to give him the ability to call with like jacks or tens here. You don't want to make it like too tough from the call, but at the same time, like, you know, you have a very, very strong hand, and I don't think it's too bad to go for a little bit more value.
Isn't he going to be a little more suspicious of the big bet? Maybe like, well, this guy had a queen. He'd never bet that much.
Yeah, but if you go too big, then it looks like, you know, you can't really ever be weak. Like, you can't really ever bluff for like too big of a size. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you bet 800 on this turn, he's not going to be thinking, oh, this is such a weird bet. Like, he's probably really weak here. You know, he's going to be thinking, wow, he just bet pot on like what seems like a really bad turn card.
Right.
You know, for a lot of his range. He must just have like, you know, pocket queens or like ace queen or something like that, you know?
Okay. Well,
so
I decided to make it a little bigger than I didn't pot it, but I made it 550.
Okay. I think that's still pretty good. I think anything over 600 is probably going to be a little bit too big, but 550 is probably fine.
Okay. And he takes a little time this time.
Okay.
Good 15 or 20 seconds studying me, although I thought the whole time he was calling. And he does call. So we now have 1,900 in the pot.
Okay.
And the river is the...
Well, before we go to the river, what are you thinking at this point, Joe, when he calls that bet?
I mean, he could just have like a pair with a spade. I mean, jacks with the jack of spades seems pretty reasonable.
Okay.
Especially if he's just, you know, suspicious of the fact that you're betting this turn. He could have just had ace king with the king of spades that he, you know, peeled the flop with, and now he's like, all right, you know, now I have a spade draw, maybe I'll peel the turn. And he could probably have like, what was the flop? It was queen 5 deuce.
Yeah, queen 5 deuce.
Yes, I mean, he probably doesn't even have like deuces. He probably just can only really have like pocket fives. And I'd be pretty surprised if he didn't raise like a flush. So I mean, I kind of just think that you're gonna have the best hand here almost every time.
Okay.
Why not deuces? You wouldn't call the preflop raise with deuces when we're 200 big blinds effective, or even more?
I mean, he just has to, like, first he has to be opening that to 40.
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming 40 is probably like his standard size.
Right.
But
six-handed table.
Yeah, I mean, he might even just like open it to 30 just so that way he doesn't have to, like, you know.
Okay. The raise is not quite as costly.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not even
sense,
certain that he's gonna have deuces in this spot. I mean, it's possible, but it's, you know.
Okay. I thought he had nines, tens, or jacks just for my.
Yeah.
That's what I put him on a pair with some over a decent pair.
Yeah, I would say nines, tens, or jacks, and they probably have to have a spade.
Okay.
Right. Okay, that would make sense.
Okay.
The river is the king of diamonds.
Okay. That's a pretty bad river.
And why is that?
Because it just hits all of your bluffs.
You mean bad river because we're not getting action?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me think about this. I'm like gonna try to induce, and I think I'm probably just gonna bet very, very small.
Into 1900, like what, 550 or something, or?
I might maybe even smaller than that. I might bet like like something that looks just so silly that he may just raise. So like I might bet like 350.
Huh. Okay.
Because I don't think he's ever gonna bluff if you check to him when he has like nines through jacks.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a chance he turns those hands into a bluff if you bet really, really small. Because then when you bet really, really small, it just kind of looks like you have ace king. And, you know, you're just trying to like get like a tiny little bit of value, or you're just trying to get to a showdown or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I can see him, you know, turning a hand into a bluff is if you do that. If you bet too big, I just don't think you're going to get called by too much.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what my plan is.
Okay. And what did Hero do?
I don't know if I can justify it or what I was exactly thinking. Especially, I didn't think about how the king just cripples the range I put him on, nines through jacks. But I decided to bet big. Okay. And I bet 1175. I mean, are we ever getting called worse by that?
I don't think so. I mean, if he has like queen jack, maybe
with the jack of spades.
Yeah, I mean, if he has just queen jack with, you know, even with no spade, he still probably calls. But I mean, I feel like we get raised at some point. Like we probably just get raised on the turn by queen jack, I would think.
Right.
So like I'm not really too convinced that he would even have that many queens.
Well, the one hand you did put him on that would be gin for us if you said if he had the ace king of diamonds, the ace with the king of spades, he would have still
right.
So that's the one hand.
Yeah, but even for that hand, like he's not going to call. He shouldn't really be calling a very big bet.
Okay.
I mean, he has to put you on a bluff. Like, you know, he's just bluff catching with that hand. So,
right.
At least he can talk himself into it being a chop if you bet something real small. But yeah, I mean, if you bet like, what'd you say you bet? 1100?
1175.
Yeah, I mean, he just has to put you on complete air, which I don't know how much air you can have here.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it would have to be, because like all your bluffs in the turn are going to be like the ace of spades. So then it becomes, you know, what if it's not ace king with the ace of spades and it's not ace queen with the ace of spades? It has to be like ace jack with the ace of spades, and then he has to ask himself, are you really three betting ace jack offsuit out of the big blind? I mean, maybe, right. But maybe not. So yeah, I mean, it becomes kind of tough for you to have a bluff.
Right. I think there was one guy from the previous TV table, and I was talking about a couple of my bluffs gone wrong. So maybe he was picking up that I'm capable of bluff, but this would be a big bluff. This is a bluff that multi-street, me putting over $2,000 into the pot.
Yeah, and like I've had situations like this come up with friends where they, you know, read me a hand history and they'll tell me, so, you know, I get to the river in this spot and I decide to go real big and make it look like a bluff, but, you know, a lot of these spots you just don't have that many bluffs. So, right. You know, you're kind of handcuffed. I mean,
okay.
So I mean, and the other thing is like, you know, if you had a really nutted hand, if you had like pocket queens here or pocket kings, you know, then
never betting super big there. I mean, because
Well, no. Then I probably would bet real big.
Oh, okay.
Because
really? Why?
Well, because then the hands that are worse than yours are still really strong hands. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, let's say he has pocket fives here and he decided to just call twice. You know, then you can get value from that hand if that's what if that's what he has. But like let's say, especially pocket kings, because then you don't block a queen. Then you can have some queen X. But when you block a queen, you block the ace of spades, it just makes it kind of tough for him to have too many really strong, or like too many value hands that are worse than yours that are also going to be able to call a big bet.
Once you take the queens out of his range, then any hand he's going to call with has to be like a flush or a full house or something. He's pretty much
right. Yeah,
I got you. So he takes a couple seconds and then shoves it all in.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's actually
and
interesting.
I just thought this was an interesting mathematical question at the end. I have to call $375 to win a pot of $4,625.
Oh! It's only $375 more. Oh, how? Okay.
I'm just curious, and like I had him range between either having king queen or king queen.
What are the suits? What are the suits that he has?
So those were, I thought, the two most likely hands: king queen, king queen. And I'm just curious if a pro. If this is a perfect situation why I can never be a poker pro, can a pro actually make that lay down? I mean, $375 is, that's a car payment for a month.
Wow. I think you probably have to. He can't really assume that he has any fold equity.
Right.
So, I mean, that really stings, but.
You're never good there, right? I mean,
I don't think so. I can't imagine that he's ever shoving
a flush. Does he ever shove a flush or queen jack? I mean, I
don't even think he shoves a flush.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, the river is such a bad, like, the reason that I said it was a bad card for you was because, I thought that it would just kill your action.
Right.
Because, like, when you make a really big bet on this river, like, you just should have, I mean, this is probably the weakest value hand that you have. Like, you're going to have just, like, pocket kings here, like king, queen, yourself. You're not going to bet this big with, like, aces. I wouldn't think.
Isn't there always, like, these legends of these cash games here where someone, like, shoves it in because soul reads the person as having merely top set? when you know what I mean, like where they're giving him 22-1 and like, well, they have to have it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I would fold. I'm saying I don't expect to be good, but I'm not sure that I can fold for that.
Have you ever found a fold in a spot like this? Probably.
I have, but I usually feel really bad about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I call and.
Okay.
I stood up actually and was kind of walking away from the table as I called and just jammed him I said, your king queen's good, and jammed my chips on the table with the table shook and, he turned over the king queen and, I made it to my car in about 6.5 seconds, even though it was a quarter mile away.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty unfortunate. Did he have the king of spades or no?
Who gives a fuck, Joe? I don't remember.
You were just seeing red at that point.
I don't think he did. I think he had a red queen. But if you're him, even if you don't have a spade, you're still calling king queen on the turn, right? I mean,
yeah, but I'm probably more likely to just raise.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I obviously would have felt a lot better. This story would have been jived much more better with this podcast of my bad beat stories if it did get all in on the turn somehow, and he hit the 3-outer for the $5,000 pot.
Yeah, I mean, even if he just has like king queen with the king of spades, like I think his play is fine. But it's a little bit surprising that he just flats the turn if he has king queen with no spade.
Mm.
But
yeah.
Anyways. I don't really. Where's the? I'm sorry, Mike.
Can
we have a virtual hug here or something? For God's sakes!
Like we have to wean you off of the.
I know. That is a good point.
So yeah,
I wanted to ask Joe a couple personal questions. I got to go here in a minute. I'm sure you guys probably do too. But how's Jersey these days? Just generally
good. Jersey's real good. The games here are pretty good. A little bit slow. A little bit slow now that the last Borgata series is over, but otherwise pretty good.
Okay.
Did you play a lot of tourneys or?
I played a few. I actually had my first decent score since 2013.
Oh, okay.
Good for you. What tournament? What was the result?
It was the one of the Borgata events. It's like a 1 million guarantee for like $400. It's called like the Almighty Stack. You start with like 100K in chips.
Oh, is that the one that Clayton Fletcher played?
Probably. Yeah, I'm sure he played.
We had him. Did you listen to the episode with him?
I didn't. That's like the last one I haven't listened
Okay, yeah. He's a comedian anyways, and he was making jokes about the Almighty Stack and the Mega Stack. And
9,708 is a good score. You chicken shit. You should be playing the $10,000. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Good. $300 buy-in, that's a real nice score, especially, almost 3,000 players in that thing, yeah.
Wow, nice. What place did you get?
12th.
Nice. Right on. Good deep run.
Yeah.
I was just asking about Jersey because I ran into your buddy again, Joe Wirtz, in L.A. Mexico. And I told him, I said, whatever, can you do me a favor and not say hi to Joe? He said he would. I asked him to say hi. I don't know if he did. But
yeah. I talk to Joe all the time.
No, but he's living in Malibu now.
Yeah.
I don't know that just the word Malibu has some magic to it.
Yeah.
Right, you're as good. You're in with his girlfriend, and I mean, you're as good a poker player as Joe, right? I mean, couldn't you have a different life rather than being Jersey grinder out here in L.A., living near the beach? Maybe getting rolled to play a little bigger game.
Maybe. I mean, Joe's pretty special. He's like a very special player. Like he is probably the best player that I've ever really talked to.
Okay.
So I don't want to say that I'm as good as Joe.
Okay, then keep your dumb ass in Jersey and just try to make
Yeah. No, I actually have had a couple conversations with him about possibly, going out there for like a couple weeks and, he would like put me in the 5-10 game at Commerce. So,
yeah, I think he plays 10, 20 and higher. So yeah, I guess he's real good. So yeah.
Yeah, he's crushing out there. So I mean, who knows? Maybe. I mean, if I end up out there, I'll definitely let you guys know.
Okay.
Maybe we'll meet up.
Yeah, you always have a place to stay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, he can stay in Malibu, Steve, or drive an hour and a half to stay on your couch. What do you think he's gonna fucking choose?
Oh, he's gonna take the couch for sure. It's very comfortable.
Anyways, man, it's been fun, and this has been cool. And
yes, thank you for coming on, Joe. Do you have any plugs you want to throw in?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm starting coaching now.
So, good for you.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, I'm looking for people who play home games, 1-2 live, 2-5 live, stuff like that. You can send me an email at joe.lapinta@gmail.com. I'm doing the first hour is like a free hand history review. We can just talk about hands, and if you think that I can help you, we'll go from there.
Wow.
Okay, what was the email? Joe Lapinta?
joe.lapinta@gmail.
joe.lapinta@gmail. Okay, we'll put links in the show notes and your Twitter as well.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in. You can check out our website. Tony's kicking ass on that. It's headsuppoker.poker. You can now get our podcast from there. And if you want a free MP3 from Elliott Rowe, click on the link on our website. Or go to the Elliott Rowe PokerMindCoach.com. If you're going to get one, make sure you enter in HU Poker, and you'll get 10% off your next hypnosis tape or package that you buy. Thank you for tuning in, and here is your weekly motivational speech.
How much time do you spend working on you? How much time do you spend every day working on your dream? In the last 90 days, how many books have you read? In the last year, what new skill or knowledge have you acquired? What kind of investment have you made in you? So I'm saying that as you begin to look at where you want to go, if you want to make it today, and things are changing so fast, you have to literally run to stand still. I'm saying that you've got to make some conscious effort to begin to work to develop you. Here's something else. Most people are not living their dreams because of fear, ladies and gentlemen. Fear, limited vision, and lack of self-esteem is what keep most people doing things they don't want to do.
How easy is it to get up in the morning when you know you're not doing all that it takes? It's not very easy at all. You can just lay there awake thinking, oh, what's a few more minutes in bed? It won't matter much anyway. Wrong. It does matter. It will matter. Now, how easy is it to get up in the morning when you're pouring it on, doing the best you can, anxious to get going, make progress toward your dreams? It's a whole different story. When you're resting to renew your reserves, it's much different than resting to avoid your day. When you're psyched up and excited for your life, when you're excited for what you plan to accomplish for the day, it's amazing you'll wake up before the alarm clock even tries to startle you awake. Your successes fuel your ambition. Your successes give you extra energy. Your successes pave the way for more successes. It's the snowball effect. With one success, you're excited to meet another, and another, and another. And pretty soon, the disciplines that were so difficult in the beginning, the disciplines that got you going, are now part of your philosophy.